Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be putting a LED light in my daughter's shower. Now I'm going to show you a couple things. First off, it's pretty terrible actually. Somebody put a fart fan literally almost center of the bathtub. It's so crazy. I don't know why they would have done it. I understand the reason why people put the fart fans or exhaust fans in showers, obviously because of steam. Because just so you know, a fart fan is not necessarily to suck up the poop and get the smell out. Even though that's what everybody always says, that's not what they're originally for. However, it does help. Believe me, I know. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you up in the ceiling. I've taken the cover off of the fart fan so you can see. I know where my stud is, but if you did not, or Joy, sorry. If you didn't know where it was, I can show you how to find it. I'm going to do it anyway just to show you. I'm going to show you how to install this from the light all the way down to the switch. We're going to add a switch in here. Right now I have a 2-gang switch. I'm going to put a 3-gang. So one switch will be for the light. The second one will be for the fart fan, and the third one will be for the other light in it. Alright, so as you see right there, there is my fart fan. Now, unfortunately, I can't give you the whole entire, this is a small bathroom, so I can't really give you the whole entire tour of the bathroom per se. But you see right here, right there is my joist. So I know it's right there. Right here, where I made that little mark on the ceiling, that is where I need to put the light to be centered over the bathtub. It's obviously better to have it centered for, maximum dispersion of the light. And you see where it used to be right here. You can see the outline of the cover where it was at one time. Now's a good time, as you see, to take a shop vac and suck all the dirt up, because a dirty fan is a terrible fan. Alright, this is going to be some crazy ass angles in here, but what you need to do, you need to make sure you do first and foremost is get a correct template of your light. Now this one came with another can light that I had, which is basically the same model almost as what I'm going to be using. Now I'm going to leave the link in my description of the lights that I'm using that you can get on Amazon for a super smoking good price. Obviously I'm not going to be able to give a discount because I bought them, and well, quite frankly, they're a really, really good deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the template up here. Now I do know that the joist is right here, right? And you know that a joist is 1.5 inches wide. So from the edge of this, 1.5 inches wide is where my joist is going to end. So you know that I should have free space all the way across from here on out. Nothing should be up here except insulation. Now I do know that there is insulation up here. So I'm going to show you a little trick. How, if you didn't know where the stud was and you were just punching and you didn't want to go in your attic, how you can kind of figure out if there is a joist in the way or not. So let's go ahead, and I want to mark first and foremost 1.5 inches. So I know right at that point that I cannot put a light at. So I know that right here is basically the edge of my joist. So from this point on is where I need to be. Now my center of my can light is right here, as you can see. That is where I need to be. Now always use a pencil, because that way, let's say you poke your hole here or what have you, and it's not right. Well, guess what? You can erase with this pencil. Now I wish I had a little hole in this, but you know what? This is not the Taj Mahal. This is my home, and frankly, I can kind of guess where it'll be. So as you see right here, there's my mark for my joist. Here is roughly where my circle's going to be, right? Let me get my big old fat arm out of the way. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screwdriver, my little angle screwdriver, and if you have never seen this screwdriver before in your entire life, there's not many uses for it, honestly, I don't think, except to annoy the heck out of somebody, and it's supposed to be ergonomically correct. But anyway, this is what I like using them for. Now this was shown to me by a super good electrician, my buddy Potsy. He's excellent. He showed me how to do this, and I've used it ever since. Now, if you want to see anything else more about how this thing actually physically works, I've done a video on it, and you can look right up in this corner right here, and you'll see a link come down, and you can click on it and you can see. Now, let's say you punch this and there is a joist there or something. All you have to do is take some spackling, and then boom, you fixed it. But we're going to see, because luckily, now that it's in there like that, all you have to do is you work it easy, and it'll fall into place. Now, I know there's insulation up there, So I'm going to spin it around, and right there is the joist. So I can spin it around this way, and it's free everywhere else except right there. So I know that I was about right there, and as you can see, there's the joist. So we do know we're pretty much safe to go ahead and cut this can light in. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw a circle just like this. Now, I do not recommend putting a light in a fire fence so close. I don't know that I would want to do this in somebody's house unless they really said, hey, I don't care, put it in. But this is my house, and quite frankly, you know, we need a light in here because I can't stand taking a shower in the dark at all. And not that it's dark, but, you know, I like it being really lit up. I like to see what I'm working with. If you are on a job site and you need a good pair of quality shoes, look no further than these Industructible shoes. Now these things are pretty stylish. Let me tell you guys, you know, I wear these quite often. I've had them for a while and they are really nice. All right, so not only are those shoes good to wear, but you can also use the box as a catch-all because you don't want a whole bunch of dust going everywhere. And I moved the camera back a little bit because obviously my lens will get all dusty if not. And that's what you see. So we'll just put the box in here like so. Now, usually if you have a helper, this is a perfect time for them to hold the shop back right here and suck all that dust that's coming down here. But I got a daughter that will clean her bathroom, so. All right. But we're gonna make sure that we do not get a whole bunch of dust, or at least as little as possible in here. Pretty cut and dry, right? You just have to cut, cut, cut all day long. Cut, cut, cut while I sing this song. We're going to edit that part out, of course. Now, I'm not left-handed, so this might be a little tricky. Good thing I'm like Felix the Cat. I've got a bag of tricks. Now, you can use a roto-zip with a shop back attachment, which is super good. Which, if I was doing a bunch of these, I would probably get mine out because I do actually have one. But I'm only doing one right now. And when I do the rest of mine, because I bought, you know, that pack, I'm probably going to go ahead and make sure I get everything that I can out so I can make at least best as possible. That way I don't get in trouble with my warden or my wife. Now, all your dust is up in your box. So now we get to go in the attic and see what we got up here. Now I have not been up here this go around for this light, but good thing is I've been up here enough to know that where I'm going. Ooh, kind of scary up here. It's kind of wide open. So, but you need to make sure when you do yours that you look, because that is important, obviously. Now, I'm going to show you where my light's going to be at. See where that insulation is pushed up? Right about there. That is where the light's going. What we have to do now is we have to get into the switch, which is right down in there where those wires are. This is going to be a little challenge because I have some wood right here that I may have to cut out, which is no big deal, but I have to fish another wire down in there. We also have to get that light box out. So it's going to be a little tricky, but we'll get it done. All right, so here we are. Now I have put a occupancy sensor in here because my daughter, when she was younger, always liked to leave the light switch on. And quite frankly, I was really, well, I'm paying the power bill, and I didn't want to have to keep paying it for something that we didn't need to pay it for. So I put this occupancy sensor in, which she's older now, and she doesn't mind turning the lights on and off, especially when she takes her bath, and the thing goes repeatedly on and then off, on and then off. And look here, another stupid switch that is ivory and white. Gosh. I don't know who in their right mind decided to put, so this is what the screwdriver is good for, among other things. But anyway, that's what we have. We have to get this box out, which is, it's metal, which is not going to be too bad, but still got to get out. All right, well, as you can see here, maybe, or maybe you cannot, I don't know. Let me lighten this situation up a little bit. How they have got a metal box in here, and it's got a big old wire nut on here. So all that definitely has to come out. Now, metal boxes are great. I have no issue with them whatsoever. They did not ground this box. If you use a metal box, you're supposed to have a ground pigtail in here, and they did not do that. So we need to bust all this loose. And if you're not sure of what the hot is and what the hot is not, it's extremely important, guys, for you to know which is the hot. Now, I can't stress enough to turn your power off before you do this, because it is important that you do not get shocked. All right, so these two are the hots. This is feeding somewhere else, and ordinarily, I personally would never do that. I would make, the bathroom lights only for themselves, but I didn't wire this house, so these two are going to be your hots. Now, the best way to keep all your switch legs the way they're supposed to be in this situation, what I would do is I would leave the hots I would take them and I would cut the little ends right here completely off. This, to me, will signify that this is your hots. I would leave the switch legs all like this with the wire already cut, because that way you know what's what and you don't have to try to guess. So, and I don't like guessing. So we are going to go ahead, take this off, take that off. I haven't taken a metal box out of a drywall wall in a long time. So I know that this circuit's, like I said, complete off. It's not sharing with anything else. It's one neutral in, one neutral out, so on and so forth. So first thing we gotta do is we gotta take all these little metal clips out here. And I know that I have a 2x4 wall, but the bad thing about what I'm getting ready to show you is this happened to me in another part of my house. I had to put a 3-gang in a 2-gang situation like this. And what happened was, I had to, or they actually put a little board in here off the stud, and I had to cut it out. And let me tell you guys, it was not fun at all. It actually was really terrible. But anyway, I'll show you what I mean just as soon as I get this out. We're gonna take this box out. Looks like they just have a screw in both of these boxes to that thing that they put in there. Now, you also need to ask yourself, I already know, because quite frankly, they do this on a lot of my switches, but you need to make sure that when you're doing this and you see something like this, why did they do it? Is there a pipe going back behind there they're trying to keep safe? Is there a bunch of Romex going back to there? You need to make sure that you're not just blindly going to take this board, cut it in half, or whatever you're going to do to get it out, and screw something up pretty bad, because there's a reason why they did it. Now, I know why they did it in my house, because they thought that was the easiest route to put these boxes in. So, which, quite frankly, I don't think is. But I honestly didn't do this, so we're going to have to cut the wall just a little bit and get it loose so I don't pull the whole wall down. Okay, so on these boxes, you'll see in a second, right down here in these corners, which you can't see right now, but I'll show you, there's screws on the bottom here. And when I'm trying to pull this out, it's actually pulling against the sheetrock. So I'm gonna make this 3-gang anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and just widen this out, because it needs to be wider so I can actually get it out. There we go. And we'll just take the wire down like that. And now we have an open hole, except for this piece of wood that's right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna backtrack this, and I'm gonna go this way with my 3-gang, because I don't need to be, but I'd like to be closer to the stud, and we'll see how that looks when I draw my 3-gang out. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna, like I said, move my box down a little bit here. And I'm just gonna put the wires back in the wall. And we're going to see how far this goes in the wall. So we're looking at about 2 inches to the edge of my stud from right there. So we know we're gonna go about that far. So let's see if our box will line up and cover the hole, and it will not. So we're gonna have to take this box to the edge of this and go that way with it if we wanna use everything. I'd rather have a little closer, just because I think it would be a lot better closer for me, my daughter, And plus it's my house and that's where I want it. So yeah, huh? So I already know that that bottom hole is pretty level. So we are just going to trace this. And I'm going to show you exactly what to trace here in just a second. So what you want to do is you want to trace the inside here. You don't want to go up and then down, then up and then down. You want to just trace in here and then inside. That's all the places you want to trace. That way your box won't fall on the wall. So after you do that, this is where if you were to trace it, it would bend up. It would look like this. See, because that's the ear right here. But we don't want to cut that out, so we're not even going to worry about that. What we're going to do is we're going to take and we're just going to draw all of our lines together. And this ain't got to be exactly right, because once you start putting this in, you'll see how easy it is to level it up. All right, let's go. Let's start cutting. All right, and we'll go up. Now, I'm not using the box for this because, well, quite frankly, my helper that was in here with me took it down to the trash can. That's okay. It's just nothing but a broom can't take care of, right? All right, so we want to come up here and we want to get, you don't really want to cut your wires. The wall is very thin right there, I guess from where somebody screwed it up before. Maybe that's why they put the 2x6 in there, I'm not sure. But there we go, there we have it. Now I can tell you right now that this 2x4 in here is nailed in from this way. So unfortunately I'm going to have to take and cut all that out. So I'm going to do that off camera because it's going to be a very hefty little chore here that I have to do. All right, and because that is in there the way it is, I'm going to have to use this Rockwell tool that I need to get in here and cut with, because I cannot get that 2x4 out unless I use something like this. Now, there's other ways to do it. Obviously, you can use a chisel and a hammer, but you know what? We're not doing it that way. I recommend using ear protection when you do this, because it will be loud and very, very, very loud. All right, so I am going to take a chisel and I'm going to hit it out here and just break it out. And hopefully it's not glued on the other side, because if it's glued, then I will be kind of screwed on that. Okay, so with the hole now cut, the box did fit in here. I tried it, put all the wires up in there. We're going to fish a brand new wire down from the ceiling down and get in here. And I'm going to have my daughter help me. I'm going to push the wire down here. So hopefully when I push it down, there is insulation in here, but she should be able to, there's a pretty big hole up on the top. I'll take you up there and show you what I'm talking about, and hopefully I can push it right on past the insulation, right out in the hole. All right, so we are up here now. I'm going to show you the hole down in here. I'm going to push the room mix down. My daughter's waiting down there for me. Hopefully it'll go right in. And if not, guess what? When you watch the video, you'll be like, damn, that went smooth, because that's what's called trick photography. Now, if it does not go smooth, there's options for you to take to get it actually in the hole easy. You can have a fish stick, which I have some, but I have a feeling that I've done this enough to know, I have a feeling I can get it in there pretty easy. So we'll see. I'm not 100% sure if you can see it or not, because it is bad lighting up here, and I have lights everywhere else, but I'm not going to bring one up here. But anyway, all right, so apparently there's going to be no trick photography because I could not get it in there. The insulation's got me pretty bowed up, so we're going to use a fish stick. I mean, that's what we're down to. It's okay. That's what they're for, right? All right, pull it out easy. So what I did is I took a screwdriver and I pushed these little tabs right here down so I can get in there, get the wires in without really fighting them. So now we're wide open. As you see, that's what it looks like on the inside. Okay, let's go ahead and put these wires in and get this box situated. Now, this is just preference, but I like to have the wires go in the box where they're going to be. So for instance, I would have this for a light, maybe this switch for the fart fan, and this one for the light for the actual bathroom. And the power I'll have coming in here. So it really doesn't matter where you put any of this stuff. It's just basic preference. I mean, you know, it is what it is on that. Well, we had a battery go dead, so I'm not sure what I recorded last. But anyway, we got the box on the wall here. And I had to, even though I tried it in there before, I still had to trim it just a little bit. But it's all good, it got in there. Now, if you remember before, on one of my electrical videos, I took a screw and I screwed this part of the box into the wall here. We won't really need to do that here. Everything will catch pretty decently, and it's just switches, so there's not, you know, if this was a receptacle, we may want to think about doing something like that, but since it's just a switch box, all we're going to do is just put it in here and call it a day on this. Now you might be wondering why there's so much space under here, and I can move the box down, but I've got a cover big enough to cover all that. So we're actually pretty good on that. So we're going to straighten all these grounds out as best we can here. And I have to strip this one out still. Now, usually I use my Romex strippers, but they are outside in my car and I don't feel like going out there. So we'll just use the old knife and we will not cut ourselves. All right, so what we're going to have to do now is we are going to have to take this and make a joint on all these together. So we'll have to twist them together like so. Guys, this is one reason you should never arrange work those big. I mean, it's really Alright, we're going to take 3 more wires that I got from the other 12, my little piggy tails. And we are going to take our fingers like this, and we're going to put them all the exact same length and bend them. And then we're going to lay them in here like this. So all we have to do is twist these on now. Okay. And we're going to put a wire nut on it. Boom, and we are grounded. Just like you were when you was a kid. Alright, now we're going to worry about our neutrals next. Alright, we're just going to put all these together. And we'll push this back in the wall. Alright, what we're left with is the hots. And we know with switch legs, we know our hots are the 12s. Minus the one I just pulled in. These are our switch legs. So this is our hot. We're going to do 3 black wires. And we're going to twist them. And put a red wire nut on it. Like that. And what we're left with is our hots and our switch legs. So these two will go together. This one will go with this hot. And this one, this short wire, unfortunately, will go with this one. I'll go ahead and we'll put the grounds on first, like I always do. Flip it over. And we'll put the hot on. And then the switch leg. And it doesn't really matter how you do this. I like if it's when I do it. So if you were to come behind me on any of my jobs, you would say, you would see that the hot is always on the bottom. You don't have to do that. That's just what I do. It's just, you know, the hot on the bottom screw, your switch leg, which is your light, your fan, or whatever, on your top screw. All right, so a little tip right here. If you have all your switches up and you put your cover on, it will hold itself in place so you don't have to try to teeter-totter it on there. All right, let's move on to the last part of this little deal. What we have left to do here is real cut and dry. You have the controller, basically, the junction box part of it, separate from the light. And I do like that a whole lot. Now, there's two different kinds of road connectors you can use. You can use these metal ones, or you can use a plastic push-in. Now, I am going to use a metal one. I like the plastic ones for places where I have trouble getting my Romex into a box. For instance, somewhere like in a very tight spot and I can't seem to get it, I just use those and you go easy. Now look, this all it does is open up and you can push your knockout, take your screwdriver, you open it up and you take your screwdriver and you just put it in here in this little hole, like so, and you just kind of twist it and everything comes right out. Just like that. Let me throw that away. We'll put our Romex connector in. Now you can put your Romex connector on your wire if you choose. All I'm doing is putting it on now. There's no wrong way or right way. People have their own preference. I do it both ways, and both ways, at the end of the day, it's the same. We'll go ahead and strip our wire right here. We're going to take our Romex in our little box and we're going to put it in. Open the box back up, pull it in, and we'll put it so the Romex is just inside of the box. And we'll tighten it up. Now I got a little too much in there, so we'll pull it back out a little bit. Pretty easy. We'll go ahead and we'll strip these two wires. Give them the same length first. Strip them. Now mine did come with wire nuts, and if you get this brand, yours will too. I do not care much for the orange wire nuts on a 12 gauge wire. Plus, I don't even think that's code. I'm not sure. I don't really ever use orange wire nuts on pretty much anything except little teeny weeny stuff like ballast and such. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this on here. And I had a comment on one of my videos before about you should tape all your joints and your receptacles, yada yada yada. Now that is a preference. At the place I work at, they require us to do that. Now, when I was taught electricity, I was taught, and it's just the guy that taught me this, said if you have to tape your joints and your receptacles and your switches, you're hiding something. So, do I believe that? No. Do I think it's safe? Sure. Do I think it's a waste of tape? I honestly do. There's some situations that could easily benefit from taping your joints up. You know, like putting tape on your wire nuts after you get all your joints here made up. But I don't think it's a must. You can do it if you really want to. I mean, nobody's going to laugh at you. I just do not do it, and I'm not going to. Now, my workplace, yes, 100% I do. There, I always do. But at my house or anything, like I said, special situations I would, but I don't make that a habit. And there's nothing wrong with doing it, and there's nothing wrong with not doing it. So, anyway, here we are. We have to put the light on now. We are minutes away, guys. Now, this one here comes with a little gasket to make it semi-waterproof, I guess, or moisture-proof, moisture barrier. Now, all you do with these, you just basically plug them in and then twist, and it locks. It's not coming off. And all you do is you take this, you put it up in your ceiling, like so. You put this in there. You take these clips right here, you just put them up like this, kind of like you're flying, and you basically just, beautiful, guys. It is a beautiful thing. Next thing you're going to see is that light coming on. All right, so with the lights completely off, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the breaker back on. Boom, there's your light. Isn't that a beautiful sight? Nice and bright. Perfect. It's a beautiful thing when things come together. All right, all the switches work. Everything looks good. That's the light I was using, my ring light, to film this video. And let me tell you guys, this was a pretty decent job because of the camera, not because of how long it took me and everything. That light is beautiful up there. So guys, if you like what you see here, like and subscribe. God bless, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day, guys.